Hey everybody, welcome back to another Slimefun Survival series here on my channel. I am Boomer, your host, and you probably noticed something new for those who have been a part of the channel for the last few years. We have new music. Um, After I did that last update video, I received a notification from YouTube that the copyright owner was claiming my video because of that opening track. Now, under Audio Plus, I've been using it under license with them for free for 4 years. And so I filed a claim with them to try to figure out what was going on. It turns out there's new copyright owners. In other words, the artist who created that song had left Audio Library and gone to another service. And I know there are some paid services out there. They're like 10, 15 bucks a month. I don't produce enough videos. It's not worth my time and effort or money to buy that. So I just picked up a new free one. Hopefully we'll be able to keep this one for a while. Um, so having said that, let's kind of update you on where we're at. In the last video, I said I wasn't happy with part of the base. Oh crap, I forgot to turn on the infinity matrix. Oh, that would have been a big boo-boo. Okay, so I've already started to tear it out. When I first recorded this, building this, and when I showed it off, I remember saying that I wasn't completely thrilled. I liked it, but I wasn't overwhelmed and overjoyed with excitement. And so I've started to tear it down. Now, the question is what to put in its place. So my first thought, as you can see, I kind of dug a hole just to see where it would fall, was to extend a pillar with a 4x4 or a 6x6 with the corners cut. Well, when you kind of look back and tried to picture what that was going to look like, to me it looked really stupid because I've got a smaller pillar supporting a platform with bigger pillars supporting a bigger platform. In other words, it's like building on an inverted cone, and that's just not realistic. So when I got up here, I realized that I forgot this. Wow, this was the original platform out here. The world that was nothing was dug out underneath us when I first started. This was great. But now it doesn't look right. And so I think all this stone needs to come off so that the sizing is right. And then this platform actually needs to be made bigger. And so I am going to put a layer of dark prismarine all the way around just to take care of that. And again, that doesn't look quite right. Now, what am I going to do to support it? So again, the first thing I thought was extending the pillars down. Even at full size, one, it's going to interfere with things in the bowl, and two, again, it just didn't look right. So what I'm thinking of doing is creating some sort of staircase on all four sides that will come off of this wall, whether it goes down perfectly straight or whether it comes down in curves one way or the other. I haven't decided yet. The problem I'm going to have, obviously, is anything that would interfere with this. So if this comes down and curves to my right, it's okay. If it goes to my left, it may or may not interfere with this farm. Coming out straight, depending on how wide it is, at some point I do run the risk of running into this because, as you can see, it's a little narrow, but there should be enough room. But I don't want it to interfere with looking at this. So if I have a stairwell that starts here, my concern is all this other stuff is just not going to be either easily accessible or it's going to look really bad. So depending on what I do, what I might do when I attach this up here is use these corners and build some sort of support system tied into the stairwell. So it looks a little bit more natural, and there's only going to be 4 sets of them. Whatever I build for the stairs, you know me, if you've watched me for any amount of time, when I build, very rarely do I build non-symmetrical forms, right? Everything I build, like you can see, was completely symmetrical and identical all the way around. And so that's probably what I'm going to do. Again, I'll have to move my wither farm and a couple of other things, but it's okay. What I really want to do is just build something that looks realistic, right? Like, for example, I could cut holes in there and make it look like flames shooting down, and it's some kind of build that's being held up like a spaceship. But I mean, come on, look at this thing. Okay, so we go up with these big pillars, and then we get into the dome where the guardian farm is. and then we get up to the top of the dome, and I mean, come on, that's not going to look real, right? So I need to remove the stone part of that layer right there, build this next one out just a little bit more, and then find some way to make it look like it's truly supported. That will be a little bit later. I'll start working on clearing this in between recording and in between videos. I do want to give you an update on to where I'm at with the base. So I also talked about going down from 40,000 Slimefun blocks. Let's take a quick look on where we at right now. I'm actually up. At one point, I was at 25.0. So I'm at 25,572. Now that had actually gone down to 25 and up almost to 26,000 because, again, adding more tech machines for that farm. So I do expect the count to continue to go up a little bit more. But I've replaced a lot of EMCs, 2s, 3s, and 4s with level 5s, or even when possible. I've gone to Infinity Expansion 2's Mob Sim chamber with stacked 64s of the data cards. So that's the equivalent of 64 mob simulation chambers. Each one of those is the equivalent of 64. Inside of here, I did a lot of combining. I've been upgrading the robots to all level 9s. And in here, we've even been pulling up more and more machines and condensing things even further. I haven't even finished cleaning up the floor yet. I still have to finish cleaning these 3 columns up yet. But I've been condensing stuff to the fastest machine possible, regardless of cost. I've even cut out, oh my gosh, it was, I think, 100 autocrafters. A number of them I was able to cut out because I could put in one tech generator. I cut out 14 vaporizers in favor of one tech generator making sulfate. So I've been working on maximizing speed, getting everything to the best, fastest production. Now, I kind of look at the wall and it's somewhat organized. What I wish there was is a crafter that could do more than one at a time, right? It could automatically craft a stack of them at a time at a much higher significant cost to build it and to run the machine. But I've added more capacitors and electromagnets, the base things to help get my farms back up and running when I need to use EMC tech. I've reorganized, restructured a bit. I'm still not completely happy with how it looks, but it's, I think, a little bit more practical. But the ultimate goal, like I said, is to get everything best, fastest production speeds. So here I'm turning Eye of Enders into Ender Lumps. So it takes 32 of them, but it makes 8 level 1 lumps at a time. So why I might lose, and I've got to get to my production up, I might lose a little bit by using the autocrafter. If I can increase my Eye of Ender speed, right, I'm going to get a whole lot more this way, a lot faster at 32 of every craft. So I just need to increase the rate I'm making Eye of Enders, which I've been working on. So rebalancing up, because here again, Ender Pearls go in and it makes Eyes of Ender. I may have to add more of those machines. I've got some room over here where I could add 7 more. But that's some of the examples of speeding things up instead of using traditional autocrafters, smelteries, or ore grinders, whatever the machine is. Instead, finding the best, fastest ways to get everything. And so a lot of that, Supreme truly is the end game add-on. The cost of these machines, in a lot of cases, is just insane compared to an autocrafter. But an autocrafter can only do one every Slimefun tick. If I have the supply, right, these can make 8, 16, 32, depending on what the item actually is. So I just have to increase my vendor production, plain and simple. But that's kind of where we're moving here. Same thing with all these tech gens, with all the cores. As a matter of fact, right now, I'm just kind of letting things run to get my core built up. because I want to finish those last 475 tech mutation chambers, right? Well, for every 64, get this, right? Just for core of death, for every 64 machines at level 3, you need 832 cores of death. You need 832 core of block. You need, let's see, it's 10, so 640 nature, 768 core of life, and 256 core of ally for every 64. So I have 7.5 64s left to do. So in other words, I need over 6,000 more of these. So I'm going to let those kind of run for a while, see how many of those I can get. But then I also can use the EMC materializers. Well, I don't need that Dragonite to kind of help the process. I have quite a few things being dematerialized at very high values to complement the electrical core machines over here producing all of my cores. So I have 2 core of ally being produced per cycle, 3 block, 3 death, 2 life, and 2 nature, and then some miscellaneous pieces. I tried to balance it out. I never could get it exact. But that's what we're working on right now. So I think what I want to do, because again, I'm letting those run, I have a lot of clearing of all of this to get done. And I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pause the recording for a bit, work on this, and then I want to think about the build a little bit more, and we'll come back and talk about next steps. Wow. That's all I have to say is wow. Now, I've got my render distance turned up, but apparently it's not turned up high enough to have all that be the actual black that it is behind us, but that's okay. So we're done removing the entire cage that was surrounding this. So I have a few things I have to do. One, I have to go back and patch up all these holes where the walls were because I put a full, instead of a half slab, if you notice, my base is half slabbed right on top of the bedrock. So in other words, mobs can't spawn down here unless there's a solid block. I still get slimes that did fall from the tower, but I'll have a lot less now. So I do have to go back and patch those. Step 2, you're going to see a slight little problem here. Let's get up on top of this. For the stairwell, I figured it'd probably be either 9 or 11 blocks wide, which creates a problem. Watch when I look out. I'm going to hit this first row of machines, that. And so I have to move all this. I'm going to have to move, I don't even want to think about it. You know, just looking at machines, 448 machines plus the grabbers and pushers plus the network underneath plus the bridges plus the energy nodes, and then I'm going to have the same problem over here. All this is also going to be in the way. So I have to figure out some way of moving it, redesigning it. And when I look at this, this is just a cluster, right? I don't know how I want to set this up. I want to be able to make it look neat, but not have to have 82,000 signs over everything to keep it labeled. And then, of course, I actually have to build the stairs themselves, right? I got to figure out what that looks like. I've got an idea. I want to play around in creative. But there'll be some things to move. I got to move my wither farm for when I need to manually kill them for, I believe it's slime frame for the morphics. And then I've got this cargo network that goes up inside of this pillar. So it comes down from at the bottom up to the platform through the pillar, which allows me to collect all the drops from this farm. I'm probably going to remove all that and simply let everything void out of the dispensers and call it a day. But I can't believe this thing is down. It's gone. It really opened this up. And, you know, the more I look at this now with it open, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I tried to make things neat and organized inside when the walls were up, and even though we weren't quite done yet, I'm really not happy with how this looks. And I can't even believe I'm considering redoing everything. I'm actually considering redoing all of this, keeping everything, but just reorganizing it, restretching it out, sitting it, however you want to call it, setting it up. But yeah, I'm actually considering to do that. I might get done in multiple stages, but I think that's, I gotta get the stairwells first. And then when I move this, if it is going to happen, it'll happen when I have to start to move these. But my gosh, just the sheer amount of pieces to move is insanity. I mean, and I've already eliminated 15,000 Slimefun blocks from this server. So I really need to think about this and kind of lay it out, maybe use like Excel and see what this will look like. But for now, we're going to fix the hole. We're going to start coming up with a build idea. And then from there, we'll keep going. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. And look forward to any ideas or suggestions you have in the comments. But don't forget, when you play Slimefun, man, going Boomer can be a pain. But you get to go Boomer, or you get to go home. We'll see you later.